Hey guys, welcome back to Woods Tree Farm. I'm Phil and it's full firewood season, and I just made a major shift in how I produce firewood. You might notice, or you won't really, but there was a piece of equipment that was over here. It's not here anymore, and that's because it has been sold. My Wolfe Ridge log splitter that I've had for over 2 years now is out of the yard. I have moved on, and the split force that you have seen in recent videos is now my only and my primary splitter. So there's been a few reasons that I made this shift, and I'm going to cover those with you in this video here today. And we'll talk a little bit about why my equipment decision is influencing the future of my firewood business, or maybe how my firewood business is influencing my equipment decisions. Here we go. So the Wolfe Ridge that I've had for 2 years now, which was my first commercial log splitter, was a massive upgrade from the Champion splitter that I had before. And that splitter helped me produce a heck of a lot more firewood in a lot less time than I ever was before. So it was able to help me kind of elevate my firewood business certainly beyond where it was before, because it is a much more capable machine than any store-bought splitter, and it's a much more productive machine than any other kind of consumer grade store-bought splitter. So reason number one why I got rid of the Wolfe Ridge is the type of wood that I sell, which is mostly to suburban households who are burning wood recreationally. They want nice small pieces of wood, nothing bigger than this, 2.5, 3.5 inches at most, and that's it. So if all I'm doing is producing small wood, I either need a large multi-way wedge to do that through one push, or I need to do a lot of resplitting, and that's what I found with the Wolfe Ridge. No matter which wedge I put on there, I had both the 4-way and the 6-way wedge, I had to do a lot of resplitting, which brings me to reason number 2. If I'm doing a lot of resplitting on the Wolfe Ridge, that does require a lot of reaching and a lot of bending over. The log table on that Wolfe Ridge was pretty big, which was great for holding lots of pieces of wood, and it gave you lots of room to work, but it was also a rather long reach across that table to pick pieces up and put them either back on the log lift or to bring them back to the wedge to be resplit. So ergonomically, I think the vertical splitter is a much better machine for handling particularly the larger rounds that need lots of splits in order to break it up into smaller pieces like what I sell. If all I was doing was big chunks of wood for heating purposes, I would say the Wolfe Ridge machine is a much better machine for that type of work day in and day out. But that's not what I'm doing. The Wolfe Ridge 28C that I had is also not highway towable, which means if I was going to take that splitter anywhere of great distance, I would need to load it on a trailer, which was actually a bit of a challenge because I needed to make sure that I had equipment on the other side to unload the trailer, unless I had a really big trailer, which I don't. So anywhere I took my splitter, I had to kind of plan ahead and think about where it was going to go and how we're going to use it and all that kind of stuff, because it needed to get loaded on the trailer. Now this machine has a torsion axle, is highway towable. I can take it anywhere. It's not that I do a lot of that, but it is definitely a consideration. There could, I think, in the future be another equipment decision which would make this machine slightly better suited than the Wolfe Ridge 28C that I had, and that is if my next major equipment purchase is actually a processor, or I might consider renting a processor for a period of time. There will likely be a lot of resplitting that needs to happen off of that machine, and a faster machine like this with its 4.5 second cycle time is going to be better at resplitting a lot of stuff than my Wolfe Ridge would have been. Now, some of you guys who've been following me for a little while, you probably saw my video last summer where my Wolfe Ridge was in an accident. I will say that has not really influenced my decision to switch machines at all, other than the fact that that machine's not highway towable. If I was towing this machine on that day, there certainly would not have been the same kind of issue as I had. But like I said, that didn't really influence my decision that much. At least that wasn't a reason that I moved away from Wolfe Ridge. Well, Phil, Wolfe Ridge has a vertical machine. Why didn't you just go and get that one? Well, that decision came down largely to price and a relationship. Now, I've been working since spring of last year with Reeves Timber. I've done several videos with them and covered several different pieces of equipment. And this machine came from them because they are a split force dealer. I did pay for this machine. It's not a gift. It's not here on loan. It started out here on loan, and I said, hey, I really like it. How do I buy it? And we did the transaction. That's how that happened. But the real driving factor here is not just the relationship, because I think that's important, but the other thing is the value. This machine is a few $1,000s less. You'll have to look up the actual specs because I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know it's a few $1,000s less than Wolfe Ridge's vertical splitter. So I think as far as value goes, this met my needs a little bit better. And then the last reason why I moved to this machine over the Wolfe Ridge is kind of just for a change. As a content creator, and I do make almost as much money off of YouTube as I do selling firewood, so it's meaningful. As a content creator, I felt like the Wolfe Ridge Splitter scene on YouTube was getting just a little bit saturated. When I first got that machine, I think there was only a handful of people on YouTube running Wolfe Ridge equipment. Now it seems like there's 50 plus guys out there, and it kind of just seems like that piece of equipment, that brand has grown to the point at which it's maybe just not as interesting from a content perspective. So Split Force, which doesn't have the name recognition in the industry, I don't believe, doesn't have the following, doesn't have as many units on the ground, I think is going to offer up some interesting content perspective because it's just not out there as much. It's going to be seen on my channel for the first time by a lot of people, and I think that's going to offer me and my channel some opportunities. So I was definitely influenced by the fact that the Split Force brand and this machine is just not out there as much as the Wolfe Ridge equipment is. It's not to say anything bad at all about Wolfe Ridge. That machine had produced a lot of wood in the 2 years that it was here, and it was in great condition when it left, despite having its accident last year. Everything on it was repaired right, and I sold it to a local guy here in my market. I have confidence I'm not going to hear any negative feedback from that guy, and he's not going to have any issues with that piece of equipment for a long time. And if he does, I'm certain that Wolfe Ridge is going to stand behind their machine and assist him in any way necessary in order to keep that machine running for a long time. So that's my kind of feedback and overview and kind of where my head is at on this equipment. You're going to be seeing it a lot more on the channel. I know I've done some videos with it recently, but that's what's going on. Some of you guys have asked, hey, I thought that machine was going back. Now you know why it's not. It hasn't gone back, because that deal is done and that machine is now mine. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you spending a little time. Leave me some comments with your questions, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.